I'd like to welcome everybody this Friday night, late night. Good to see you here. Love the love. But the question of the week for me is, you don't really believe in equal pay, do you? Like, really? Because there's a lot of stuff going around. I know you've probably heard of the stuff with Monique this week and a lot of people that chimed in. But even just without Monique, the last time you went to go apply for your job, whether you're salary based or, paid by the hour, did you get what you want? How many times have you heard around the water cooler somebody got underpaid or what have you, didn't get their worth, and what can they actually do about it? But the thing is, in this capitalistic America, does equal pay even exist? I don't know. I'm asking y'all. Does it with you?
I mean, with me, does equal pay really exist? I think when it comes to anybody, I think when you, like you say, high risk, high reward. The person who made it up, the person who's in charge is going to reap the biggest benefits. Mm-hmm. I think that's just how, like you say, it's capitalism. That's just how it's set up. No matter how much, I had somebody give me an example the other day. They said back in the day, the CEO made 20 times more than his average worker. Now they make over 200 times more.
Is that the average CEO, or you kind of do the top side 1%?
I feel like this. Even if you say extra 150 times, is that okay? 150 times more than your employee. I don't think that's when you say equal pay. Don't get me wrong. As a CEO, I know you got a lot more stuff on your shoulders, but I would say 200 times more than an employee. I think that's just a crazy amount of money. They give each other bonuses of like, millions of dollars.
That's a different level. That's a different level. What about
it's a different level.
Same level. You and your, say, coworker or whoever, somebody that you can compare your skill directly to,
right?
Essentially equal worth, but getting different pay.
Yeah,
you having a lesser.
I know I would. I experienced this just in the Woodlands, earlier last year. I got promoted in the first month, and me and the girl was in the same boat, but when it came to offering us the money, they didn't think that we would talk. And I asked her straight up, she was a black girl, like, hey, how much they offer you? She said, they offer me blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dang, me too. I'm doing so much more work. I went in there like, I need more money, and she was like, let me check the budget. Let me do this. I was like, that's fine. After I felt like they wasn't going to give me what I worked, I didn't go black on them. I say, hey, I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate you seeing something in me to promote me. But thank you, but no thank you. And I got my stuff and I left. Straight up.
Oh, they wouldn't give it.
She basically was coming, they was coming up with more excuses and reasons why I probably wouldn't get it. So I felt, my time was way more valuable than what they was paying.
That's strong, man.
I got my stuff right there. I didn't wait 5 minutes. That's just me. That's how I feel. I'm going to put up with the fight, all through my life. People probably be like, man, what if you lose your job? I'll be like, so?
That's
I'm gonna go get another
strong
one.
mentality to have, for sure. I guess, should everybody have that?
No, I'm not going to say everybody should.
Since then, have you gotten your fair share? Do you think now, do you have equal pay?
No, of course not. At the company that I'm presently with, I feel like I still wouldn't. I feel like if I went and checked the payroll, I feel like the assistant admin that may be a white girl make just as much as me, even though I can be more educated. I just think it doesn't matter. I think as long as they feel like they can keep that secret, I feel like you would never know as far as equal pay. And I just think you get paid what they feel like you're worth.
Salary.com, huh?
Well, see, I know from an athletic standpoint, there is no such thing as equal pay. It has to be merit based, because this is a zero-sum game. So if you have, like now, okay, and people know this, and if I didn't have the wife that I have, there was no way that we would survive, because I took a pay cut to the hometown 3rd Ward Mighty Lions at Yates, and I make less as a head coach than I did as an assistant coach in Cypress. Okay, so as a head coach, I don't have equal pay for people within my own district. So I made the playoffs. However, the coach at Scarborough and Booker T. Washington make more money than I do. And the longer I go into the playoffs, we still make the same amount. And it's the same way when you talk about college coaches. Equal pay for who? Now, when you start talking about comedians and things of that nature, now you can start thinking about who brings the money, because it's all driven. And we talked about Monique and during the break, and you start looking at comedians who bring in, it's all about money. That's all this thing is all about. So if I have to bring in, if I have an opportunity and I'm going to bring in $60 million and I have to pay Dave Chappelle $30 million of it to make that 60, I profit. If I'm the company or the management company, I make $30 million. But if I have Monique and I'm only going to bring in, let's say, $4 million, I can't pay Monique $30 million.
That's true. It depends on what your equations are.
Right.
Right.
And it just depends.
You can understand her situation.
Right.
But, you know, with that situation, is everybody making it a personal thing about Monique rather than pointing out
I think you
a
got
whole
to.
thing? But that's one. But you would have to believe in equal pay in the first place. So if you don't believe in equal pay and kind of against her, then even with yourself, ain't no equal pay.
See, I think when she was comparing herself to other comedians, she had a valid point.
It was merit-based, though. Like
Yeah,
you said,
it
it should
was.
be merit-based.
Now-
But if merit-based can't even be equal pay.
Here's the same deal now. Would you pay $200 to go see Music Soul Child? Or would you pay $200 to go see Jay-Z? Because I know I've seen Jay-Z and I paid that kind of money because we just went when he was here.
See, that's the thing. It's like how much, when in terms of creation, you're about to give somebody some money to create a new project, right? The next chapter. Now, if you're giving them that money, you kind of have the power or, you know, maybe influence to I guess get a better return on investment, right? To ensure that, hey, this will be satisfactory to my satisfactory, that I can make some money from it. So it's an investment. So you're saying, hey, that's just not a good investment for her or whatever, whoever turned it, you know, they turned down or you know, lowball per se. That wasn't their best investment, period.
Where do you think is equal pay in? Do you feel like it's equal pay anywhere? Like in whether it be people getting paid a large amount of money, or do you think it's more disparity in the lower?
Do I believe in equal pay? Hell no. Ain't no equal pay out here. Like there's no way you can do it mathematically and systematically, whether it's, you know, level based or merit based. Either way is a subjective base. Nobody will be satisfied. Right. So really, when it comes down to it, so whether it's Monique, Wanda Sykes, or so and so applying to whatever job and coming out at the lower end that they want, just know that there is no equal pay.
Right.
That power is under no obligation to give you what you want. You have to make that happen. So if you want your worth, you got to get it. They're not going to give it to you. And how to ensure that? For example, how did Dave Chappelle or who else? How did they get that? Did they just, you know what? I'm this, and you know I did what I did, and it comes automatically, or was it systematically set up for them to get that?
I think, and I'm gonna use Dave Chappelle as an example because I admire him when he walked away from the show. He walked away from, at that time, gentlemen, I want you to remember this now. He walked away from a $50 million deal.
It's true.
And stayed gone and gave no reasons. He basically.
I'm gonna let you know something. Go ahead.
But he no. I know he gave those reasons, but I'm just saying he just said, you know what, I'm going on vacation. I'm gonna spend time with my family. He walked away from that. Now, at that time, we didn't know what Dave Chappelle was doing, but you know, he knew what he was doing because he's a very intelligent man. He set the market for himself when he came back.
The demand.
He set the market. He said, and Netflix, guys, we talked about it too. Netflix paid him $60 million. So that means when you come to the table with Dave Chappelle, your first bargaining chip is $50 million. And I think now Monique has put it out there. Don't come at me less than $1 million. And I admire her for that.
That's true. But you got to see Dave Chappelle's last thing.
And you told me that. And I'm gonna go home and watch it.
He explains why. That's his last joke. I don't really want to ruin it.
Don't ruin it.
Don't.
I am going to watch it, and I might have to come back up to you.
Because it's like it. I wonder what Dave Chappelle is saying about Monique, because it's like he understands there is, by and large, some inequality on purpose.
He'll say go get their work.
Just cause.
That's what he'll say.
What,
He'll say go out there, get on tour, go get their work, and go out there and make the money. I mean, not do something else, but do what he did. You know, he sold out how many theaters? Just like she talked about Amy Schumer.
No,
Amy Schumer sold out what? Madison Square Garden twice. I don't think she's funny at all. But you know, she showed something first. You know,
Netflix show bombed. It's not even about she showed something first. It was I guess they happen to see a little bit more in her, so it may just be some type of cognitive bias in it. And Dave Chappelle kind of explains that that is real within the industry. Right. He proves that and proves that. Hey, reason why I left, they tried to do that shit on him. So it's like, check game.
Right.
Some cold shit. You'll understand when you see it.
I sure will.
And it's like 50 million. 50 million is way underpaid. And that's the whole way underpaid.
And at that time he was, because Jerry Seinfeld was making
exactly 150 million, what have you,
and
fully syndicated, all of that.
And has Comedy Central ever rebounded from losing the Chappelle
He
show?
should own Comedy Central.
But
see what I'm saying? Like,
what was that guy that was late night that did Comedy Central, the news guy?
I'm talking about the Cobra.
No.
I can't remember the name. If you ask me to remember the name,
I can't remember.
That's
both
all right.
of them.
While y'all got the debate,
I would say this.
Trevor Noah, but before Trevor Noah, I can't remember his name.
I will give you this. Oh, go ahead. Finish it off.
Even he disappeared. But no, like, you got to see that because it is a real thing. People purposely getting, I guess, underplayed, forced, lowballed, or what have you. And on the Black King Show, we like to have some type of solution for that. Now, unless you're about to go to some.
Oh yeah, no. I was about to give you a couple more numbers real quick.
All right, go ahead.
Just to the disparity, so people would know. Like, I guess I always go to the big numbers when we talk about equal pay. We go to the NFL. The NFL, if you add up all of the total amount of contracts that the NFL have right now, it'll total around $15 billion. Mm-hmm. You'll be thinking like, dang, that's a lot of money. You're like, man, but I'll say only about 55% of that is guaranteed. That's about $8 billion. Now, let me tell you this. The NFL in 2016 made $13 billion. And I will tell you this. The average contract right now of the NFL is 3.3 years. If you just add them same 3.3 years to that same, $13 billion that they do, they'll have about $42.9 billion in 3.3 years. And let's just say, and that's only, see how much contracts that they have to pay out that's guaranteed is only $8 billion. So let's just look at the disparity of how much they made or going to be making versus how much they paying out. And we thinking these dudes making a large amount of money, but they about to look at $42 billion in these next 3 years, and look at the contracts that they have. They only going to have to pay out around $15 billion, with only 8 being guaranteed.
I don't know. I'm a bit lost in the numbers, but even listening to them, I think you might be missing some expenses in there. But even more so, I'll take it. I
know the expenses, but I'm saying the billions is billions.
So
many expenses.
What you're trying to bring light to is that there is an extreme difference in pay level, almost as if some unfairness within pay.
I'm not gonna say unfair, because these guys still making a crazy amount of money to be out there and stay behind. And you signing this contract, you agree.
Just due? Is it their just worth?
Not if you do the numbers, for its percentage and sparingly, but you are being paid a large amount of money to play football. Don't get me wrong.
But you could make more compared to how much the overall
getting
NFL
paid for sure. But I do think they do give. When you got anybody that make more money than doctors that go to school all their life, I think that's crazy. But they do put their bodies on the line, and I do know.
Again, importance. Are we going to pay $150 to go watch a doctor perform a surgery.
Right.
I'm going to pay $150.
See, I'm not comparing the two. I know people not gonna do that.
But I understand that. One of the things
wait, before you go on, you'll be surprised. People pay to go see surgery. That's a learning thing, and it's more than $100 actually, depending on the level of surgery.
Right, but the market for that is very, very small.
The market is small.
So if you're talking, you get what I'm saying?
If there ain't no Grey's Anatomy, I ain't watching no surgery.
And again, guys, I'm coming from a sports aspect but right
That's
now,
why you here.
Well, one of the things that I've been researching, because I don't watch the NFL, but I have been watching this fallout with the receiver for the Miami Dolphins, and he's 25 years old and he's a sharp guy, a guy named Landry. And one thing I admire about him is he was very honest. The NFL and the Miami Dolphins are a billion-dollar corporation. They were here before I came up. They're going to be here after. This is the only time and opportunity that I have to provide for my family long term. So I don't want to be paid what I am worth. Mm-hmm. I didn't set the market for the best wide receiver. I just happened to become the best wide receiver. But other receivers before me, and it is stated that he said this in his interviews, they have built this. The Jerry Rices of the past, okay, the Andre Wares, all of these Art Monks, all of these Hall of Fame guys. They set the precedent for me to make in a range between 17 and Megatron, 17 to $19 million. Kirk Cousins with the Washington Redskins, he knows his worth, but they don't want to give him the guaranteed money. So what does he do? He keeps himself in shape and he plays for the 28, 29 million. Okay, well, it becomes guaranteed. Now, I may not have a long term, but you know what? I got 30 million. It's going to screw you in there because you're going to have to pay more. So I understand in that realm of things, when you're talking about knowing your self-worth, if you know it and you can settle, get it, I'll go for it.
Good stories, but it's more than just selling it. Now, what made those two stories successful? Why? How do you go get your worth, right? What do you need? Listen, I find that there's two things: leverage and power, right? So leverage, because looking at those two, you can control, right? Not unless you can control the power. If you have the power, then you pretty much don't need leverage. But those are the two things: leverage, using something to its maximum advantage that will put the other party at a disadvantage if they don't make a deal. Now, put that in perspective in all of your dealings. If you're not looking to initially leverage yourself to that deal, right, you're going to lose. Power is under no obligation to give you what you're worth. You are under the mercy of whatever power.
Power sees nothing without demand.
Correct. You have to have that leverage. Without it, you will lose. They have no reason to. Now, what kind of leverage are we talking about? All right, excellent talent, skill, creativity, and or knowledge is a must-have if you want what you're worth. They're not going to give it. You have to show that, more so prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt. Looking at those two athletes, you got to become that number one, that best. Right. If you were to leave that team, your team becomes worse because of you. That's leverage. That is true leverage. Now, if you were second or third best, well, we can talk about it. We may or may not be at a disadvantage. They'll have to weigh that out. But for as long as your talent is at that excellence, you have leverage. Always. If you're talking about it before equal pay even leaves your lips, you should know about leverage and did you properly leverage yourself for that deal. That's absolutely number one. So I'm sorry, Monique. This is a leverage thing. You have been totally leveraged against, as well as anybody else that has lost out on a deal, right? Second thing, other leverage things. Network, of course, you got a good network. Network's your net worth. A lot of nepotism, cronyism that'll get you in the door in spite of or without any excellent talent, skill, or creativity. So if you ain't the number one that'll get your leverage, you could be about number 5 to 10 or anything less than 1. If you know somebody, you got some leverage in there.
Well, you know, one thing about the nepotism that I always like is that things like that, it'll open a door for you, but it won't keep you in the house.
It don't matter. Leverage is getting you in there. Now, once you're in there, that's a re-leveraging game.
Right,
you still got to play. And yes, it is a game to be played. Don't even think that it's not. So, yeah, the goal is to get in there. Deal with today and now. You can adjust to different tomorrows or what have you.
I can tell being around you guys. I mean, of course, I know Lloyd. You know, Coach Tim has been around him for several years. But just being in this room with you guys, I can tell you that if you get in the door, everybody sitting in here is going to be successful if you get in the door because of the confidence that you have and just listening to you brothers in here. Now, we have all worked with people in each of our respective fields that had nepotism or had leverage to get in the door and they couldn't keep it. And so that's the thing now, you know, when you look at Monique, you know, she has the leverage. Now, the thing with her, and what is interesting, because I'm not really into, I know she had a show and all that, and when she started talking, I started reading some things. She's lost a lot of her leverage because she's pissed off a lot of prominent people.
Definitely. I didn't even think about that. She sure did. So she burned a lot of bridges.
That's correct. You have been leveraged against. You leveraged yourself against yourself.
Now, one of the things that I found odd, and in the morning, it's funny because, you know, I used to listen to 97.9. Now I find myself listening to Tom Joyner in the morning. But I heard one of the sites talk about that this morning.
Correct.
Or yesterday morning, and she was talking about that. You know, here you have Monique talking about equal pay for the Netflix deal. Well, you pissed off Oprah and she was on her own. Now, if that would have been, you know, if you'd have kept that relationship and hadn't burned that bridge, you can say, hey, Oprah, they offered me this amount of money. Let's get together. Let's do a comedy special for OWN. That could have blown up, guys.
Yeah, no, I agree. We was talking about, we was talking about solutions. And, you know, I posted something that, you know, I know, Shern, you commented on, and I say something, yeah, I mean, just kind of what you said on OWN. You know, I even took it even simpler. Like, it's nothing for her to hire a IT guy or somebody that knows the tech equipment. And why not do something online and throw your own special? See, like, I feel like it is just that easy. We got Facebook. You can do whatever you want. You really can. And that's with a fraction.
And that's what brings us to power. See, if you had your own Netflix, you wouldn't get rejected, right? That's what I mean by power. And what I kind of define power as money and influence. That's power. Now, what exactly is that? How to explain it? Well, that is the control, direct control of that, I guess, that instance's outcome, right? You have control of that outcome. You have the decisions to say yes or no. You have that power. So Netflix in that situation has the power, or the job you're going for has that power. It's not to say you can't create your own power. Now, you got to leverage yourself to power, right? But the ultimate goal is to get power yourself, and you'll never have to deal with that shit, which was like perfect. That's where I've been. I've been like this since at least the early 2000s, 2001. How can you have $1 million and not create your own? We all have been on creating your own, create your own. Monique, like, you have, as proven by this meme, that lined out how many followers she had. It was about 100,000, 180,000, you know, took about 20% of it and said, hey, this many people, if you had given $10 for this show, would net you about 500,000 or up to $1 million.
It was more than 500,000.
Right.
Just taking a couple percentage of just her followers on Facebook and Instagram.
You can apply that to a monthly subscription of about $7 a month, and you can build literally your own Netflix. It's so much less than 500. It's less than like what, $60,000 to build your own Netflix. You know, make your own stuff. And when you do that, you've done more than just, you know, put out your art. You've created a system that gives you power. You don't have to leverage at that point. You own the platform. The whole point of it is owning that platform. So whenever you're going, I guess, you know, this is directed towards any actor, still follows towards athletes. with all those millions, you could have started a whole nother league somewhere else on the planet if you wanted to. But you have to do it. It doesn't take that much. At the beginning of the NFLs, it didn't take much to get those people together and actually start some leagues. Matter of fact, I find it easier now with all the Facebooks because you could get all the advertising and all that quicker and easier now with the latest technology. So you can start your own leagues. Prime example, the Baller brand. Starting their own league. He's proven everything that you can do with the least money that all y'all had. He ain't even get into the league yet and already had it.
But he's using available platforms just like you guys are. You guys
Correct.
right now are creating, you're starting something small and you're using a platform that's available for you. And you're creating a buzz. And it's just like with the Big Baller brand. He's doing the same thing.
Correct.
All right, you go overseas, you're doing this. He knows what sells. These people, I mean, he's not dumb. He sees it over and over. He has created again, just like with reality TV shows. I guarantee you LeVar Ball is not like that in the household. That's a persona. And guys, if we remember a couple, what was the swamp people with the beards? I don't know.
Duck Dynasty.
Okay, Duck Dynasty.
Yeah.
If you ever hear him talk on interviews, he says that that's not really reality TV. He had to learn that. He says it. There's an interview. You can see it. He tells you, reality TV, I have to make this up. And he pulls the strings for all of that. Now they don't have it. I guess they canceled it. But he got 12 successful years on a duck whistle. Come on, guys. We were strapped. Just like we watched this foolishness out here with the housewives of this and housewives of that. They've created a platform.
Correct. That's power, right?
And that's the power.
That's the power. Creating a platform and getting to that level.
There you go.
You got to get the power.
I mean, that's why, guess what? That's what made us start Creative Group Economics, our group. We had a philosophy, 600 people giving $20 a month, that's $12,000. What could you do with that just in your own neighborhood? We can do a lot with that in Third Ward, as I can say. And that's just on a minimum scale of what we can do as far as that. But I feel like if I'm a millionaire, why aren't some of these millionaires going to get some of these people? That's what they do, structure businesses, structure stuff. You don't have to be. But like I say, the number one word is liability. When you start something like that and you be invested to that much, you have to be liable. And I think a lot of these people, they like, hey, I'm going to go make my money. I don't want to be liable for something that could go wrong, something that could be seen in a negative light. And when you have to be liable, that's the whole thing. Because Third Ward need grocery stores. Beyonce be here all the time doing video shoots. St. John right down the street. It's nothing for you to invest in a grocery store. They have, they got $1 billion. Not nothing against us. They do a lot. I know she do a lot, and they do a lot. But dang, you don't being liable. A grocery store is a lot of work.
A grocery store
it's a lot of work.
A lot more to create.
For sure.
To start up.
I believe you.
That's
why I say it's liable.
Now you're walking into
into heavy deep water.
Into some deep water.
I know. I love Beyonce. I love everything.
Not that way. Not like you thinking.
Oh.
Not like you thinking. But now you're going to create something that's systematically making community self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to create a vehicle in which an entire community, minority community, can become successful again. You're going to start with a grocery store. You're going to reopen a hospital.
At the same time, you will be pissing off already a power that be. What leverage do you have against the HEBs, the Krogers, and
you got the community,
the Fiestas?
What they're going to do is they're going to talk to distributors, and now they're going to limit distributing into your grocery store.
Exactly. So that's power. So it's like that's where a lot of people are reluctant to go in and jump in that because there's already powers that be within it. Don't be scared. Find your leverage against it and do it. Like actually do it. Like find the leverage. Just everybody can be leveraged against. When you actually focus on it, but that's how you get to that power, especially if the one's already there. You have to find your leverage against. And don't complain about whatever's unfair. If you have no leverage or you don't have the power, you are 100% at the mercy of the power. Period. There's no getting away around it. There's no good feelings, a naive world. Like know that that's reality.
You are Beyonce and Jay-Z. You can't tell me it's not one black guy that runs a H-E-B, a Walmart, a Target, Super Target. I'm going and stealing all of them guys. You know the tricks of the trade. You know the inside of the game. You've been doing this for 20 years. Come work for Beyonce and Jay-Z and come start these inner city grocery stores. You already know the game. I don't have to teach you. You already know the distributors. You already know the ins and outs. I'm not saying that's going to work, but them ideas are stuff that I would be flirting with if I had money.
Well, it's like anything else. You look at, what was that show? The guy that created FUBU on Shark Tank.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm not so sad. You know, and forgive
Damon John.
He's doing something
right. And forgive me, guys. I know y'all can laugh, but you know, we don't watch too much TV in my household. But one of the things, you know, I look at it, it's just like him. He created something. He had leverage. He had power. FUBU was very successful. And at the end of the day, he had to think about it. He says, you know what? I'm getting this bite back from these people that have power. I can get rid of it for however millions of dollars and sell it off. And he was so successful, you know. I'm not sure who bought it because I'm not a designer. I'm not a, how do you call it, a dresser like that. My wife does most of my dressing and picks the clothes. But,
hey man, don't say this is Black Kings podcast.
Hey, I'm a ball coach, baby. Okay. Now the message I'm good. I don't have to think about that. But that guy sold it because he, you know, the bite back he got back, and they offered him a deal he couldn't refuse. And then whoever bought it, what did they do with it? It was so much of a threat, they just killed it off.
They turned it to Hispanics start buying it.
Whatever.
They killed it. Like South Pole.
I mean, online it's still it's still available online. I was actually researching that other day, like, was FUBU still alive? Matter of fact, when H&M did the little monkey thing, my wife was actually pissed off. Because she does the shopping for the family. Queens do the shopping. Sorry, that's just what happens. Right. Queens do this. That's their thing. She is more effective and efficient at it than I am. And yeah, we was looking like, who's an all-black company? FUBU. FUBU still around? Like, man, I can't rock no FUBU in 2018. But right, they probably need to change their style up. But it seems that they're still around. But then again, you know, it's still that power thing. Cause I haven't seen, you know, Damon John seems to be stepping into a new light of being a different public speaker.
For sure.
Entrepreneur. Maybe he's out there looking for people. I don't know. That's another conversation. But what I want y'all to get from tonight is on your next endeavors, whatever it is, all the powers that be are not going to play fair. They're not going to give you your worth. They're not going to give you equality, period. You're going to have to leverage to get it, and you're going to have to get some type of power to get it. Point blank simple.
Cool. Now, for sure, nothing, like I say, you know, power concedes nothing without demand. You know, I feel like if there's anything, people that's out there protesting, I feel like, you know, I'm not a protester. I'm more a holding my dollars type of person. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just me. I feel like
even protesting.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We, you know, for example, like, you know, I'm not sure how much time we got. I mean, we always ended early and everything.
No. We still got some other things. We got some stuff. We got events and stuff to go through. So we'll get through it. We got your book and stuff to go through. So we got some stuff to go through.
No, but, you know, looking at all this boycotting stuff, like a boycott kind of is a good thing to gain leverage, but you have to do it properly. Yeah. Like, it's crazy because, you know, when you talk about power, we've seen, especially from the black community, 2 boycotts within the past 9 months. Boycotts, real, you know, popular, known, heavily known boycotts that didn't work.
Right.
The NFL sustained 2 boycotts at the same damn time. One, Colin Kaepernick and, you know, the rest of the black crew, what have you, boycott the NFL. Then you got the white folks pissed off at us kneeling, what have you, standing for Cap, who's also boycotting the NFL. So that's 2 boycotts still didn't work. Now that's
like slavery, they got over it.
As power. No, it follows the rules of boycotting, right? So within any power system or organization, we kind of covered this in one of the earlier episodes that kind of didn't air. There's a system to it, right? You have to, the carrot and the stick. The stick is made, you know, you create a situation and using whatever resources you have to punish, figure out a way to harm that, or at least the threat of harming that organization, that power structure. Then you have to be able to prove that you can harm it. You know, let them know, hey, if you don't abide by certain rules, I can harm you by this whatever method. That is a way of leveraging, as well as showing them a good and positive way out. Now, within all the boycotts, have you ever seen anybody put up, hey, these are the rules. NFL, you can either get this punishment, this is what's going to happen, or you can take this route, which is something good that's going to happen to you, right? Even in Monique's situation, Netflix, to do a boycott, to get that power structure to budge anywhere, you have to have that. You know, what's going to make them do anything, right? Just you begging for it, or, you know, you tell us to boycott, like, what does that do, right? You have to have some set options that's going to harm them or bless them, period. If you didn't give that, boycott ain't going to work.
Well, you have to look at the big picture, like you said. Now, here's the deal with the boycott with the NFL and why it didn't work. Because we all got together and said we're not going to watch the NFL. But what we didn't realize is that they have a TV contract for 10 plus years. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about a boycott, it has to be sustained, mm-hmm. like Dr. King and Malcolm X did over a period of time. Exactly. We cannot go one season not watching. We have to sustain. Now, we dipped the ratings a couple of games. Yeah. Okay? Now, if you really want to see change within the NFL, then you need to start talking about boycotting for a decade. And then when that next TV contract is up, now we're talking about we're talking there. Now, and there has been problems within the NFL with the player personnel guy, Vincent. A lot of the players don't think that he's on their side because he goes in and he doesn't negotiate. One of the biggest things, and we know it, guys, is guaranteed contracts. They are the only sport that doesn't have guaranteed contracts. Mm-hmm. Now, you go to baseball, everybody's guaranteed, from the water boy to the bat boy.
See, they not willing to wait no games, though. You know, baseball play 182 games.
But you know why? Because in baseball, most of those guys are financially stable. Mm-hmm. And here we had in the NBA, we had guys that were financially stable. If you don't remember, I'll refresh your memory again. Kobe and LeBron were the loan officers for guys that were having problems sustaining their families.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
In fact,
I did not know that.
LeBron and Kobe, quiet as kept. That's why that boycott worked for the NBA players, is because you had key people who were on top, came out and sustained the guys that weren't making any money. Because now you have your LeBrons, you have guys making money at the top, and at the bottom you had the rookies making $1 million, right, $2 million, and so they loan it out.
I would say, go ahead. I was
going to put out it was kind of leads to the second point, right? In order to sustain that, you have to provide an alternative. Without the alternative, humans are going to stick to what they're doing unless it's very vital. Like a lot of people like to compare every boycott to civil rights. See, civil rights was like brutally vital. There's no way around it.
Right.
Everything after that is kind of light, right? So this current boycott is not serious enough to like.
Got you.
I like football, but I like Netflix. Like, what's the alternatives? And that's the reason why it's almost like an addiction, because we're so heavily invested in it that we can't just leave just because you say so. Like, there has to be some significant evidence and reason and some type of benefit towards me. And that's where the alternative comes in. Like, hey, they're not playing fair, for, whatever group, which, hopefully you can gain assimilation with, right? Gain some type of sympathy with, that they could join in on it. But okay, so I'm losing that, but I have to get something. I can't just lose out. Like, I need some Netflix. I need it. It's all entertainment. Humans absolutely need entertainment and specific entertainment.
Point, because I'm going to bring you back to the AFL and the NFL back in the day. Okay? And the ABA and the NBA. Okay? You provided alternatives for those guys. Now, here's the deal with that. You talk about the AFL with the Oilers, and you had Bud Adams, owner of the Oilers, and Lamar Hunt, owner of the founders, we'll say that. Founders, Buffalo Bills, Wade Wilson. founders of those guys, they tried to get into the NFL and it didn't work. So you know what those billionaires did? We're going to give you an alternative.
Exactly.
We're going to give you a quality alternative. Then what did the New York Jets do? They go out and sign Joe Namath, Broadway Joe. Now they have leverage.
Exactly.
What did the NFL do? They had to say, you know what? We're going to merge. And here's the key. not taking over, because that's what companies do. They come and buy you up and gobble you up. But in those things, it's called merger. You know why they merged? They kept the name the NFL, but then they changed the name. Instead of the AFL, they said AFC. And they created leverage. ABA, NBA is the same way. ABA came out and created a buzz. Dr. J. They started naming, Daryl Dawkins, Chocolate Thunder, naming his.
How they started allowing the players to play in that natural way, some style.
And what did the NBA do? Did they take them over? No.
They concede.
They merged.
I'll say this: we keep going crazy on
that
this.
Power. That's what happened.
Excellent point,
so
man.
in this, your athlete, for basketball, the Balls are kind of already doing it, creating their league. Whether boycott the NFL, is there going to be another NFL league? Hopefully there should be one that good athletes, real and equal and just athletes can control, as well as when it comes to artists and actors and comedians stuff. Where can y'all develop your own alternative Netflix? It's very well possible. Power, people, power. I'm done.
Cool. We'll jump right in here to the top events. Then we'll jump into the books and then our black product here. Pretty much what we have coming up next is pretty much Saturday. Everybody needs to remember we have our marketing and mimosas. You come through, that's going to be from 11 to 3. If you have, for creative people, we definitely come in marketing and see who we can meet and bringing our businesses to the next level. The other thing we have is the CGE community meeting, which is going to be at the Shape Community Center from 6:30 to 8 p.m. They're starting to have different community meetings for 3rd Ward and a lot of other communities meetings. We want to definitely be represented in full effect. So if you're from 3rd Ward or from the Houston area and you live on the south side and you definitely want to be a part and know what's going to be coming on to the neighborhood and want to be a part of what's going on, definitely come in and check us out again. That's at Shape. That's going to be Monday, January 29th. From 6:30 to 8. Definitely come be a part. Nothing serious, just a little meeting. What else you got, Shern? You got any events, anything you got for people?
No events at this moment. So
Go straight to the book.
Straight to the book, huh? And I'm doing the book, right?
Go ahead. What you
got? This week I read Ta-Nehisi Coates, 8 Years in Power. Has anybody read that?
Have not read it.
Do you read, my brother?
You found one I didn't have read.
It just came out last November, like last quarter or something, into 2017. In this book, he goes over the full 8 years, year by year, him taking different notes of different situations that play out of, within a black community, and let's say the benefits or results of a black president. Taking historical evidence, many proven and factual historical evidence, and does a beautiful job of showing how and why, Obama's presidency kind of did some things, did not do some things, and why, and could not do some things, and why. One of them.
Read that.
Yeah, you got to read it.
Takes him because I don't know how to spell.
Hey, again, we're going to have to start putting everything that we announce on our page, Black News Podcast, for sure.
Matter of fact, I'll post the link. Ta-Nehisi Coates, Ta-Nehasi, Coates, like a coat you put on, multiple of them.
People may not know spell coat.
Name of the book, 8 Years in Power.
I can remember that, 8 years in power.
8 years in power. Beautiful job. If you were looking for a summation of all the unequal, unfair shit that happened to black folk back in the day, from since we got here up until now, as of last year, he puts, just a plethora of, like, god damn.
Like, what you think of nothing else to say?
Are you serious? To where, like, there's a thing called, Black Rage. And as a black king right here, right? we starting this show, being about the black community, what have you. And if there's anything you want to get to, like power, to be a president is power, but in America that has a top population group other than yours, white people, it's very hard to do that if you have black rage. If you are pissed off at whatever happened in history about white folk, you will not elevate to a certain level. And even if you did, they will control your actions to where you can be eliminated. Again, I don't want to ruin the book. You have to read it.
I want to know what type of things did he offer in the book that they feel like Obama didn't do. Can you offer just one of the things that he said?
Helping out race relations. Like even now, race relations is still kind of off a bit. Kind of got worse since Obama. Like, why did it get worse? Like, you covered kind of how the hell does race relations get worse after
retaliation?
Exactly. And what's the reason for the retaliation? What's the reason? There's an underlying reason, and I definitely invite everybody to read the book. I can't give you these. Like, matter of fact, I can't quote it. Like, I just finished the book this week. I probably have to read it a second time to actually get some quotes in. Paraphrasing. But, there's times when, like, he gives stories of people. Like, people, black folks, whose family left slavery, get fucked over in that, still play by the rules, and get their thing, to still get messed over, right? And still fight. He gave a story about, I can't remember her name. I probably should have wrote it down in the notes. But the one lady who came from I think her parents were sharecroppers, what have you, but she was able to get something with the land. The white owners, or used to white owners, kind of finagled them out of you talking about when you think of all the stories of how white folk could like finagle you out of a contract illegally and using some type of playing dirty within leveraging. They did it, and he's proven. So this is one lady. She proved that she was kind of effed out of her land or what have you. Could kind of get it back, kind of lose it again, then end up doing something else to where she's fighting for sharecroppers, what have you. Now she's up against other agencies, federal agencies, what have you, to kind of, I can't remember the positions because like for whatever county, what have you.
I put it like this: if you go look at a movie, Just the Great Debaters with Denzel Washington,
exactly.
You look at it, they didn't even let sharecroppers meet. They wouldn't let you meet in large multitudes because they didn't want you discussing stuff that could help each other out,
exactly.
White or black.
So he kind of the lady I'm explaining like kind of goes Denzel Washington's character. She's like that lady.
Okay.
Just in a different area. I think it was North Carolina or something. But again, her story, not to drag it on, but she goes against top organizations to where she ends up working for the organization, and she ends up being like the head of the chief FDA. Obama put her in the cabinet of the FDA.
Right.
Now, this is one thing to where they got her caught up because, what was it? They had killed her father, who was trying to protect the land, what have you. They did something to her, like family members were harmed and killed by white folk in fights over land. Right. So she was pissed off and upset about that and kind of voiced herself. Right. So Obama put her as part of the cabinet to be over. I don't know if it's the FDA, EPA, or something or another. And that that story broke because she did it. I don't know if she recorded or something. Just that her saying that her anger, like fucking white people, you doing this shit, killed my family and everything. Just from that within his organization. As soon as the story broke, he's giving the story and an example of how the administration handled it. Right. This is a race thing because let's say the previous person who was for that position, which is white, what have you, is using that as a leverage to get her out. Right. Just like Obama helping a black person coming from that area to help in, and now she's being forced out just because of her vocal or voicing angst against whiteness, the bad white history. So it just shows all those different things that happen, and the Obama's reactions to them, and the political structure of how how it should go, how it went in the past, and how it did go. So there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, there's stories and examples that he makes together, and again, I can't quote all of them, but you got to read the book.
I'm gonna go read it. I mean, I mean, especially if it's talking about Obama. I mean, one thing that I always say about him, I think that he did a lot of good stuff, but I feel like we said last time on the last episode, I feel like when you black and you get to that point, I think you didn't have to give up so much of yourself to the point where you can only maneuver in certain realms. Like they got you. You know what I'm saying? You can only maneuver in certain realms. But I take it back because I say, look at what he did for the prisoners at the end. I'm like, why you couldn't done that? My second term, I would have been a fool.
And for that reason, he could only do it at the end. If he does it at the beginning,
he can do it at the beginning of his second term.
It messes up his whole not gender, but it messes up his plans for everything else.
The plans for black people should be first.
Well,
that's why it wasn't.
When you get to a certain level, and I've heard this in the college realm from some very prominent coaches. And I go back to that, and it goes in the business world too. When you get that high up, you owe too many favors to too many people.
Exactly.
And so you have to be careful because you've leveraged yourself to gain the power that you wanted, but you still, other people held that leverage over you because they had to help you along the way. So old saying, be careful who you shit on the way up because you might be cleaning them off on the way down. Okay?
For sure. That's what I mean when I say giving too much of yourself. Right. Don't get me wrong. I think it's all in good that a black person could make it to that high, and I'm sure to some black people it probably was a surprise. Like this soon, like what is happening?
And it's true, but it gives a light though. How?
But at the same time,
how? Like you think about it, was he fully black though?
That I don't think. Trust me, black is black. You can have 1%. United States have taught you that.
Hey,
it
the
don't
crazy
matter
thing is,
percentage.
black is black. Black is black. Okay, go ahead and read the book, and he explains the difference between Obama's type of black and our or Ta-Nehisi Coates type of black, which are actually 3 and multiple types of black. So there's groups, you can't really paint all of us in one picture, but he does a very good job of painting the different segments of us and the different needs of us, because you can't even fix that whole situation with one global fix or one full fix, one specific fix fixes all. No, it's not a it covers reparations.
Well, let me ask you something. Looking in history of that, because that sounds like a great book. Lloyd, don't forget to send it to me. But if you look at all of our history, the great leaders within, I'm not even going to say African American, but the great leaders that are voiced against the power to be, what has happened to them. So you look at Obama, and he had a very calculated step on the way up. Correct. He could not become as powerful, as an impactful as, say, Dr. King or Malcolm X, because of those leaders would happen to, and those are just 2. But we also have Newton,
too pro-black.
You can't be too black, but you have Newton, but then you have Oprah as the same way. You look at them; these are very powerful people.
Correct.
And even now, when you see Jay-Z, he is not the same Jay-Z that he was before. But it's a calculated step on the way up, and you have to be careful. And they have to tread water. And like you say, when you give up so much of yourself, you have to be careful of who you are if you want to stay up there.
It's not even that.
Now he you don't have to.
It's not even to stay up there. It's not even the favors, because to even do that, let's say if Jay-Z stayed Jay-Z, at that point he's going to receive a whole lot of more opposition against that level than he would want. So in terms of succeeding and continuing on and gaining more power, it's better for him to just go ahead and, I guess you could call it, whitewash himself, but the way he kind of lays out his book, like everything you named, like, all right, if you was fully pro-black,
political correctness.
politically,
That's all.
you know,
Pretty. Well, I'm like,
so
that's
the whole
gonna be me.
image.
That's
thing.
why I know I would do it. Yeah.
But you know, you talk about impactful. You look at a guy, and I hate to say it now. You look at the times of the black leaders. You know, you had people that were coming in, and then certain people like, look at Tupac. Now, whether he was right or wrong, he was labeled a nutcase by, I guess, mainstream media. But the guy was very influential and very intelligent. He was no dummy. But the way he delivered himself, you know, they kind of saw him as a threat because of the people that he could lead. Same way with Dr. King and Malcolm X.
So,
it's the same way in this book. I can't wait to read it.
I know. Now you got me.
So it's like looking at, I mean, like he covers every one of those in pretty good detail. I mean, good enough detail for sure. It just goes, you know, talking about those guys, like they had influence, but they didn't have the money, and that is where they didn't have the power.
You see, I would really want to see in a few years, because history tells us how well and how great our presidents actually are. Is a history, not right at the time, but I want to. I would want to see in a few years.
You'll see a Netflix special.
Well, I want to see how impactful Obama was.
No.
Really? I mean, that's when the real come out
Right.
on what you really done. And to be honest, I think we're gonna see a lot of different of Obama on the war side than what we really seen him when it comes back in the past, in the future. I mean, we're gonna see him a lot more on that side.
Obama did.
When you hear people talk about Obama, a lot of times they talk about the relationship that he and his wife displayed. You know, you don't talk, when we talk about Dr. King, we talk about what he did as a man. Malcolm X, what he did as a man. Medgar Evers, what he did as a man. We talk about Obama. Okay, him and Michelle are so cute. They do this. They have a great relationship, and there's other thing, and that's why I want to see in history, because hopefully,
I hope it plays some good. You know what I'm saying? I just hope his statue and our thoughts of him stand up through history. But when facts come out as far as what you know, get me wrong, it's a difference when you know.
Obama
but like Ray Rice, everybody was cool. Oh, you hit your lady, but when you seen the video, it's a different story.
Because he
not a drugger. Okay, that's
like in this book, he paints a very good case of how perfect you have to be, and how, I guess, self-sacrificial you have to be to get to that position. So when you say Obama was like a stand-up guy, like dude was the shit. Like when you, especially when you're looking at all the different historical examples of let's say of other folks who was able to get themselves out of the mud and get them a little bit of something, and then still end up being leveraged against to lose it.
I say he was a good black president for white America. That's what he was.
Hey, the Obama phone could have changed your life if you was part of the program.
Well, I believe it.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying? But he was the perfect site. He is what white people need to see. You know, a black family doing good, all smart, all educated. That's what they need. They didn't need no, excuse my friend, they didn't need no niggas coming up in there. You know what I'm saying? Because that would have been, but first of all, he wouldn't have got that far.
He couldn't have got that far.
He had to maneuver how he maneuvered, and I don't want to. But we got a couple more minutes quick.
Sorry,
let me go ahead and introduce the black product of the week. Went on here. It's called Bear and Beard. Beard oil by a black guy. You know, it's me.
Bear.
Hey, Bear and Beard.
B-A-R-E, spell it.
B-E-A-R-I-N, Beard. Bear and Beard. I think it's all together, so if y'all look them up, it's all together. You can find them at one of our local black-owned businesses here in Houston, Texas. I don't know how to say his last name, but it's NWAGUI.com. And if you have a t-shirt design or you have some type of business that you want to get started, you give him your design, he prints it for you, he ships it for you, and you still get a percentage of what you do. So hey, it's a full service design company, and whatever you want to do, definitely go check them out. I definitely want to give a shout out to PM Designs, my boy Jared. Also went to the Jack Ace High School for the shirt. We appreciate it. Everybody go buy them. They for Valentine's. Go get your girl and your boy versions of them. We appreciate it. We appreciate our guest, Mr. Mike Watkins, Coach Watkins, coming out here and being with us.
Man, I love you. This guys is excellent, man.
Hey, all the time. We have you come back on when we have some follow-ups on this, you know, when we get some more ideas. Appreciate my man Shern and Grind Zoo. We all in here. We just want to thank you for everybody coming out to watch. See y'all next time, next Friday. Till then, peace out.
Deuces.